My name is Jason, and this is Just Watches. Today we have another watch from Ginault that John was kind enough to let me borrow for review. About 3 years ago, I reviewed the Silent Service and was extremely impressed by it. Today we have the Expeditioner, which is their newest model. However, before we get to that review, if you're enjoying the contents of this channel, I invite you to subscribe. And if you're enjoying the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much. For price and availability, as of the recording of this video, these watches are available on the Ginault website and they still have a pre-order pricing, which is about 35% off. So for the Expeditioner with the flat crystal, that's $1,239, or with the Cyclops, it's $1,371. The case is 40 millimeters in diameter, 47 millimeters lug to lug. However, these solid end links do extend ever so slightly past the ends of the case, making the true lug to lug about 51 millimeters. The watch is very thin at only 11 millimeters, and then finally the lug width opening is 20 millimeters. Sized for my 6 3/4 inch wrist, the watch weighs in at 132 grams. Now these cases are CNC machined domestically in the US and then hand finished by Ginault. The mid case has brushing along the top with a nice high polished chamfer along the top of the mid case that transitions into high polished sides. Crown guards envelop the crown, and the bezel sits atop slightly larger than the mid case, which does make it incredibly easy to grip. Now this case is very flat, but with that short 47 millimeter lug to lug, it still wears very comfortably on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. The stock bracelet starts at 20 millimeters and tapers all the way down to 15 before jumping back up to 18 at the clasp. There's zero play between the solid end links and the head of the watch. The articulation of the bracelet against the back of the watch and between the links is good, two factors that can heavily influence the overall comfort of a bracelet. Now the 3-link style bracelet features brushed outer links with high polished inner links. The links are nicely finished and all the edges are smooth. The long clasp is unsigned and features a safety catch. The scissor is fully milled and the bracelet adjusts on the fly with an elegant quick adjust system that offers an incredible about 16 millimeters of on the fly adjustment. I think this is the largest range of adjustment I've ever seen in a quick adjust clasp. Not only that, but half links are also included with the bracelet, so you're definitely going to be able to get a perfect fit on this one. Finally, sizing is accomplished with screw links and a perfectly sized screwdriver is provided, a nice touch. You also have the option of getting a fully brushed bracelet if you don't like that high polished center link. Now, when Ginault reached out and asked what colorway I wanted to review, I knew I had to go for the Cherry Blossom dial because it's not something I would normally pick. However, this dial has made me completely reconsider pink as a dial color. It's absolutely gorgeous in person. It has a metallic quality that really reflects light, making it almost gleam in person. And then it also has a subtle sunburst effect that makes it even more dynamic. Now, starting at the edge of the dial, we have small dashes for each of the minutes with applied indices for each of the hour positions other than the date at 3. The applied indices have a high polish finish and are filled with lume. Now, Ginault puts a ton of text on the dial, which I'm not a huge fan of. I'd like to see maybe just the brand name and the logo at 12, and then Expeditioner in red with the depth rating below. However, I will say I love the splashes of red, both the red date and how Expeditioner is in red. The hour and minute hands are rhodium finished, which is stunning in person. They also have a gentle curve to them, which helps them catch light on a much wider range of angles. The second hand is a playful red with a counterbalance and a lume lollipop towards the tip. This red hand ties in nicely with the other red elements of the watch. This handset is also very easy to read, and I love the broad sword hour hand, and I think it was a great choice for this watch. The screw-in caseback helps provide 300 meters of water resistance and provides information about the watch. Overall, it's quite simple, but I appreciate how thin this watch is overall, and using a solid caseback helps retain that thinness. So this watch is powered by the Elaborate grade SW200. However, Ginault does an incredible 6-week in-house regulation on each movement where they adjust the watch to 5 positions each week. All of this data is provided on a card, and it's fun to see the improvement over the course of 6 weeks. For example, this watch started at plus 4.2 seconds a day at week 1 before being dialed all the way into plus 2.2 seconds a day. This has matched up exactly with my on-wrist experience where the watch is running about plus 2 seconds per day on an average over a 7-day period. You really are not going to find this level of attention and amount of testing and regulation at this price point anywhere else. As for the stats of this movement, we have a 28,800 vibration per hour, hacking and hand winding movement with a 38-hour power reserve and a quick set date. And then as you can see on the time grapher, in the dial-up position, it's running about 0 0 to +2 seconds a day with great amplitude and 0 beat error. The 6.5mm screw down crown is nicely knurled and signed with the Ginault logo. It's large enough to easily grip despite the crown guards, and the threading and unthreading action is very smooth. Operating the watch via this crown is a breeze. Now, the flat sapphire crystal is a touch proud of the bezel and adorned with the Cyclops. More on that in a second. The crystal has very obviously been treated with anti-reflective coating because the crystal is almost invisible in most lighting conditions. That really lets the dial pop on this watch. Now, back to the Cyclops, I don't always love them, especially when they don't strongly magnify the date, which is the entire purpose of a Cyclops. However, I'm happy to report this one has excellent magnification, greatly increasing the size of the date and making it very easy to read. The 120 click unidirectional bezel has chunky knurling brought up to a high polish. Now this bezel extends ever so slightly over the edge of the mid case, making it really easy to grip. The insert is platinum gray ceramic with a triangle at 12, and then individual markings for each of the minute positions with alternating Arabic numerals and long dashes for the hours. All of these are done in a high polish finish. Now the bezel action is divine with consistent, smooth, tactile clicks. It's just a pleasure to use, and then of course everything lines up at 12 nicely. The lume on this watch is excellent. It's responsive, bright, long-lasting, and evenly applied. The blue Q was also an excellent choice to go along with the pink dial. So here's the watch on my 6 3/4 inch wrist. As you can see, it wears really well despite how flat the case is, with the bracelet draping nicely off the case and onto the wrist. So pros and cons, starting with the pros. First, you are getting an incredible amount of attention and hand-finished steps for a watch of this price point. The 6-week regulation period on the movement is a great example. Second, the dial, hands, and indices are absolutely gorgeous on this watch, and I love how good the anti-reflective coating on the crystal is. It's really important for both appreciating the details about the watch, but also telling the time. Third, this Cyclops actually magnifies. I've reviewed countless watches with Cyclopses that just don't magnify, and they defeat the entire purpose of putting them on the watch. This one does an excellent job and actually makes the date really easy to read, which is the whole point. Fourth, the bezel action on this watch is divine and among the best I've ever experienced. Last, I'm in love with this colorway, from the platinum colored bezel to the splashes of red that really complement the pink, and I think this colorway just looks fantastic overall. I love that they went for a brave colorway to complement the more standard colors you usually get, like blue and black. As for cons, I only have a few. First is the amount of text on the dial. I prefer way less text on a dial, but this is a matter of personal preference. Second, this bracelet has almost everything you could want. A quick adjust clasp, screw links including half links, but I'm spoiled by the fact that many watches now come with quick release bracelets, and I would love to see that used here. It just makes swapping out straps and the bracelet so fast and easy. Last, the high polish markings on the bezel can be a bit tricky to read in certain lighting conditions, as there isn't a lot of contrast between the markings and the platinum color of the insert. As for comparables, I think Ginault dominates its price point, but for around the same price, you could consider something like the C60 Sapphire Edge I reviewed last month. That watch has a similar set of specs and is extremely nice, but is not going to be as carefully regulated as the Ginault. For less, Steinhardt is always a great option. Their prices have been creeping up a bit since I last reviewed one, but I still think it's a go-to at the sub $1,000 price bracket. And then for more, you might consider something like a Formex Reef. I haven't reviewed that particular model, but I did get to review the Essence, and I'll put a link to all 3 of those reviews in the upper right hand corner now. So there you have it, the Ginault Expeditioner. What do you think about this watch? Let me know in the comment section below. As always, if you're enjoying the contents of this channel, I invite you to subscribe. And if you like the contents of this individual video, please give it a thumbs up. That's all for this time. My name is Jason, and you have been watching Just Watches.